Well, I'll
love
tell you
that.
right now, man, one team that absolutely needs to go all in, and their direction where they got to go is so clear, right? It is so abundantly clear. It's the Seattle Mariners. And similarly to the New York Yankees, they are 6-12 in the month of July. So right when you should be finding your rhythm, they aren't. Julio Rodriguez, injured.
Right.
J.P. Crawford, injured. Oh my God, that offense is fucking anemic.
I know, bro. It took me, one search, looked up all their player hitting stats. Holy ass, am I looking at right here?
Oh yeah.
I'm not even counting Victor Robles because he has only 52 at bats. Their highest team OPS leader. Do you know who it is?
Cal Raleigh?
Cal Raleigh at 714.
Oh my gosh.
And you got, I think next is Julio. No, excuse me.
Is it Luke Raley?
It's Dylan Moore at 701, and then it's Luke Raley and then Julio in the 600s. Here's the problem with the Mariners. Like, okay, you look at your offense and everyone's screaming, "You need offense, you need offense, you need offense," and you see them going on this big downhill slide. They lost the AL West lead. And you're like, oh, we need offense, and they just had J.P. Crawford get injured now. They DFA'd Ty France. Like, everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
And yes, I know they got a really highly rated farm system. I believe Bleacher Report ranked them as number 1. We'll see what MLB comes out with. But, like, they got a great farm system. But still, you have to buy a whole new team.
Yeah.
You got to buy an entirely new team. That's how bad they've been. And now you have the Texas Rangers starting to cook a little bit. We were talking about that last week. They're 6-4. They're on a 4-game win streak. They're only 3 games back of the division lead. Like, they're in it. And I don't think the Rangers are going to be selling hard, especially when they got DeGrom coming back. They have a bunch of other pitchers on their way back. For me, it's like the Mariners are, it's almost like unsolvable, these issues. It's so bad right now.
So, you know what? I do hear where you're coming from, and I agree with you to an extent. However, with the bad, there is also the good. And we do need to give them credit for what they are very good at, which is they can absolutely hurl the goddamn baseball. In the last 30 days, they are first-ranked team in ERA. They have a 2.77 ERA. And on the season, they are the first-ranked team in ERA with the best pitching in all of baseball. So for me, yes, they need to go out. Yes, they need to absolutely revamp the lineup. But we're not looking for you guys to go from, and also, let me be very clear, they have been one of the worst teams in OPS all season long and in the last 30 days. Yes. But we're not looking for you guys to automatically become a fucking, slugging squad. You don't need that. If you could even just be a, 16th ranked team in OPS. 16th ranked team in OPS.
I know.
Then you are now a very, very good baseball team. We're not asking you to go out and to buy the Louis Robert Jr. and a bunch of other guys. I think you just need go out, do yourselves a favor and pick up as many, like an IKF, for instance, as many of those guys as you possibly can.
But I hear what you're saying. Look, I mean, you say that you don't need to pick up a Louis Robert Jr., but it almost feels like you have to pull this team out of how bad they've been. Now, granted, I do want to give some credit to Julio Rodriguez because in the last little bit, he has been turning it on. In the month of July, he's pulling his weight. He's batting for a 375 batting average and an OPS of 1.1. So he's actually he's second half Julio all over again. He's starting to come alive, but even that's not helping them win. It's like they need even more now, and now they have an injury to J.P. Crawford. It's like, Jesus. Like, I already make a video on this on our Blue Jays Today channel.
And Rodriguez, too.
Rodriguez? Julio Rodriguez is injured?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I thought he got hit by a pitch and he's okay. No.
Apparently, the article that I'm reading says that they're placing Julio Rodriguez and shortstop J.P. Crawford on the injured list Tuesday.
Well, there you go.
So
it's over now. That's the one thing you had, and now you're losing him.
Right.
It's so bad. I don't even know where to go with them. Like, for me, it's like, it feels like a lost cause, and like, it's a sinking ship, and I don't know how to pull it back up.
Yes, and again, I can't deny that that is absolutely true. But you can't have the fucking number one pitching staff in baseball and not try. You have to. It's like you need to get as many guys as possible. Like, sure, You need a lot. You do need a lot. But, how often are you going to have the number one pitching staff in baseball, right? Like, you'd be doing yourself such a disservice not to go all in and not to buy these pieces. You can do it. And for a period of time, you were that squad, right? Obviously, the offense has completely fallen off of a cliff recently.
Yeah.
But for a period of time, they were doing it. Go get yourself as many guys as possible and then just fucking cross your fingers and hope that when Crawford, when he comes back, is good, and JP, when he comes back, is or Julio, when he comes back, is good, and whoever else you bring in is good. It's going to be tough sledding, but you have to do it.
You might as well. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen all year long. Like, you saw the run differential with the Seattle Mariners, and it was like right around 0 the entire time. And they're like, okay, like they're winning more times than not. The luck is falling their way, but now we're seeing it all come to fruition. The same thing with the Toronto Blue Jays. We're seeing it come to fruition. And same thing with the Astros. Like, they had the run differential now helping them out, and the record's there. So, look, Seattle Mariner fans, I know it sucks, guys, but if I'm you, to get back in this season, you got to have an A+ deadline. You got to buy.
Well, the biggest problem for them, though, and this is a problem for a lot of teams right now at the MLB trade deadline, is the lack of offensive help that is available.
There's not much.
There isn't much.
Randy.
Well, in this article by The Athletic here, they're looking at the Seattle Mariners and how they can, because again, they're kind of establishing as well, like what we're saying. It's like, well, the pitching is so good, and again, when you have the best pitching in baseball, like you gotta do something here. But the issue is, I mean, it's just a lack of a surplus of offensive help, right? The Tampa Bay Rays, if they are open for business, I mean, Randy's a solid buy for sure. Also, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe, if you could get him, Isaac Paredes, these are all names that they list, and honestly, those would help them out a lot. Like, if you could somehow finagle a deal where you ended up with Randy and Brandon, it's like a 2-for-1, then that is a massive help, right? San Francisco Giants, Michael Conforto, Wilmer Force, Mikey Strimsky. I mean, okay. I don't think that moves the needle for me, over there in Seattle. I mean, if I'm looking at needle movers here, like guys that will actually make a serious impact or a difference, I mean, some of those Tampa Bay Rays, maybe a Jazz Chisholm, maybe a Josh Bell, maybe a Jesse Winker.
Ryan Mountcastle on the Orioles. They just DFA Ty France. That's a good plug.
That could be a good plug. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's going to be.
It's not needle movers. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's like you need
multiple of them.
You need superstar. Like, you either need multiple of these guys or like a couple superstars, and there just isn't that. So you got to be trading.
Well, that's the thing.
Trades.
Let's say, for instance, they go out, they buy Jesse Winker off the Washington Nationals. He's got an OPS over 800 this season. He's been playing good. You go out, you buy Ryan Mountcastle. He's got a 750 OPS or something. We know that
that's gonna be second on their team.
We know that's solid, right? And then you go out and you buy a Randy Rosarina. I mean, look, this is a lot. You are doing a lot. But if you did something like that, I think that would be enough to at least bring back the life to that offense. You need 2 or 3 guys. It's got to be 2 or 3 guys.
And that's what it has to take. And then you got to go play ball. And then you got to go beat the Houston Astros. And then you got to go beat the Texas Rangers. And what's scaring me is I'm seeing on that same article, the thing that scares me, and I don't know how good they're going to be at all, but the Rangers, you've got a lot of reinforcements coming back to this team. They got soon returning is Dane Dunning. I don't know who Cody Bradford is. Sorry, Cody Bradford. Tyler Mahle and Jacob deGrom. It's like they're getting like a wave of dudes, and if like only a couple hit or one hit, like that's still like a trade deadline acquisition for the Rangers. And it's like now you got to go beat those guys that are getting bolstered, and the Astros are going to be the Astros, and they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you don't even have the luxury of worrying about that anymore.
You haven't done much in the last 20 years, Mariners. So you got to go do it,
right? I mean, like how often? That's what I keep coming back to is how often are you going to end up at the top of the list of teams with ERA, with what, like a squad that is so deep, right? If you can just get to the postseason and, be able to put up 2 runs or something like that, like, fuck, I mean, I have Luis Castillo in fantasy. Yesterday he gives up, I think it was 1 earned run, takes the L. You know what I mean? And it's like 6 innings, 1 earned run, takes the L. I'm like, are you fucking serious? But this is like, we're not asking for that much more offense because the pitchers give you such a good chance every single
What
time.
does this remind you of, Nick?
But even more so,